What if I told you that one simple cheese could protect your bones, boost your muscles, and even support your brain better than eggs after the age of 75? Sounds shocking, right? Because for decades, eggs have been called the perfect protein. Doctors, nutritionists, and fitness experts have praised them. But now, many orthopedic surgeons are quietly pointing to something even more powerful for aging bodies. A food that not only feeds your muscles, but also strengthens your bones, reduces fracture risk, improves digestion, and supports longevity from the inside out. After 75, your body changes dramatically. Bone density drops faster. Muscle loss accelerates. Calcium absorption becomes weaker. Protein digestion slows, and inflammation starts damaging joints more aggressively. So the question is no longer what's healthy. The real question is, what is the most efficient food for survival, strength, and independence after 75? And that's where this special cheese enters the picture. Not processed, not artificial, not heavy on the stomach. This cheese is naturally rich in bioavailable calcium, slow digesting protein, vitamin K2, and bone protective fats. Orthopedic surgeons love it because it supports the entire musculoskeletal system in one bite. It doesn't just feed your body, it repairs it. Eggs are great, yes, but eggs mainly build muscle. This cheese protects bones, preserves joints, improves posture, reduces fracture risk, and helps seniors stay mobile longer. That's why some experts say it's 1,000 times more strategic than eggs after 75. If you or someone you love is entering their golden years, this information could change their quality of life forever. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear is simple, powerful, and life-extending. Welcome to Care and Cure Corner. After the age of 75, your bones quietly become the most vulnerable part of your body, even more than your heart or brain, because bone loss is silent and painless until the damage is already done. Every year, calcium absorption drops, vitamin D activation weakens, and the structure that once held you strong begins to thin from the inside like an old building losing its steel support. This is why a small slip that would have meant nothing at 40 can become a life-changing fracture at 75. Hips, spine, and wrists become danger zones, and once a major fracture happens, recovery is slow, confidence drops, and independence is threatened. Many seniors never fully regain their mobility, not because they are weak, but because their bones no longer have the internal strength to rebuild quickly. What makes this even more dangerous is that most people think they are fine as long as they are walking. But walking does not equal strong bones. You can feel normal while your skeleton is becoming fragile. Muscles try to protect your bones, but after 75, muscle mass naturally declines unless it is aggressively supported with the right nutrients. Less muscle means less shock absorption during movement and falls, which transfers more force directly into fragile bones. At the same time, joints become stiffer, balance becomes weaker, and reaction time slows. It creates a perfect storm where bones are not just weaker, they are more exposed to impact. This is why orthopedic surgeons focus so heavily on prevention instead of repair. They know that once the break happens, life changes. Surgery, long recovery, loss of independence, fear of movement, and sometimes permanent disability follow. The real battle is not in the hospital, it is on the plate. Most people respond by taking calcium tablets or drinking more milk, thinking that alone will solve the problem. But here's the uncomfortable truth. After 75, your body does not absorb minerals the same way it used to. Much of that calcium passes straight through without strengthening your bones. And some of it can even end up in arteries instead of the skeleton if it isn't guided properly. So even when people are doing everything right, their bones continue to weaken. This is not because they are careless, it's because the strategy is incomplete. Bones don't just need calcium, they need the right form of protein, the right fats, and the right vitamins that act like traffic police, directing minerals exactly where they belong. And this is where the story takes a serious turn. Because there is a natural food that orthopedic specialists quietly respect for its unique ability to strengthen bones, protect muscles, and improve mineral absorption all at once. A food that works with the aging digestive system instead of against it. A food that does not just supply nutrients, but make sure those nutrients actually reach your bones. But here's the warning, not all versions of this food work. Some types can do more harm than good if chosen incorrectly. And in the next part, you're about to discover which one truly stands apart and why choosing the wrong option could mean missing the protection your bones desperately need when orthopedic specialists talk about a food that truly supports aging bones. They are not thinking about soft processed or artificial cheeses. They are referring to naturally aged hard cheeses, especially varieties like Parmesan, Grana Padano, or similar traditionally matured cheeses. These cheeses are different because time transforms them. During aging, proteins break down into easier to digest amino acids, minerals become more concentrated, and beneficial compounds develop that make nutrients far more usable for an older body. This is why a small piece carries so much power. Ounce for ounce, aged cheese delivers more absorbable calcium than milk, more stable protein than eggs, and more bone-supporting compounds than most supplements. It is compact nutrition designed by nature and perfected by time. What makes this cheese so respected in orthopedic circles is how efficiently it works with weakened digestion. After 75, stomach acid drops, enzyme production slows, and many high-protein foods become heavy or irritating. Eggs, while excellent, still require strong digestion and mainly focus on muscle repair. Aged cheese, on the other hand, is already partially pre-digested by the aging process. Your body doesn't have to struggle to unlock its benefits. Calcium enters more smoothly, protein is absorbed more gently, and the fats help carry fat-soluble vitamins directly into your system. That means less bloating, better nutrient delivery, and more consistent support for bones and joints. Another powerful reason this cheese stands above others is its mineral density. Bones are not built on calcium alone. They need phosphorus, magnesium, zinc, and trace minerals that work together like bricks and mortar. Aged cheese provides this mineral network in natural balance, something supplements rarely achieve. Instead of flooding the body with isolated nutrients, it feeds the skeleton the way real food is meant to. This balanced delivery is exactly why orthopedic surgeons see better long-term stability in patients who consume these foods regularly. But here is where people make a dangerous mistake. They hear cheese and assume all cheese is equal. It is not. Processed cheese slices, cheese spreads, and highly salted artificial varieties can inflame joints, raise blood pressure, and actually weaken bone integrity over time. The wrong type cancels the benefit of the right idea. The power is not in cheese itself, but in traditionally aged, natural cheese made from simple ingredients and matured properly. That is the difference between nourishment and noise. Even portion size matters. This is not about eating large blocks of cheese. It is about strategic intake. A small daily portion acts like a bone tonic, quietly strengthening your skull. Eaten without overwhelming your digestion or arteries. And when combined with other supportive foods, its impact multiplies. But there is something even more fascinating happening beneath the surface. The true magic of this cheese is not just in its calcium or protein. It lies in a special nutrient that acts like a guide, telling calcium exactly where to go. Without it, even the best cheese cannot fully protect your bones. And that is where most people unknowingly lose the battle. Because if calcium isn't directed properly, it may never reach your skeleton at all. Most people believe that simply eating calcium-rich foods is enough to protect their bones, but after 75, the real challenge is not how much calcium you consume, it is how much your body can actually absorb and use. Aging changes the digestive environment. Stomach acid becomes weaker, enzymes become slower, and the gut lining becomes less efficient at pulling minerals into the bloodstream. So even if someone drinks milk daily or takes calcium tablets, a large portion of that calcium never reaches the bones. It either passes through unused or, worse, settles in places it does not belong, like the arteries and joints. That is why many seniors are shocked to discover they have weak bones despite doing everything right. The problem was never effort. The problem was absorption. This is where aged natural cheese changes the equation. The calcium in it is not floating alone. It is embedded in a matrix of proteins, fats, and minerals that your body recognizes and trusts. Think of it like sending calcium with a bodyguard and a map. The fat content helps transport calcium through the intestinal wall, the protein stabili, zait, and the natural fermentation process makes it easier for your digestive system to unlock. That is why orthopedic specialists value it so highly. It delivers calcium in a form that an aging body can still use efficiently. Small portions create a powerful impact because the mineral is more bioavailable, meaning more of it actually enters your bones instead of being wasted. Another hidden advantage is consistency. Supplements give sudden high doses that the body cannot always handle, which increases the risk of improper calcium placement. Aged cheese provides calcium slowly and steadily, allowing the body to absorb it in a controlled way. This steady flow is exactly what fragile bones need. It is like watering a dry plant gently every day instead of flooding it once a week. One builds strength, the other creates damage, and when calcium is absorbed properly, something remarkable happens. Bones do not just stop weakening, they begin to stabilize. Microcracks repair faster. The skeleton becomes denser, posture improves, balance becomes stronger. Even joint pain can reduce because bones are no longer under constant structural stress. This is why some orthopedic surgeons describe aged cheese as structural nutrition. It does not just feed you, it reinforces you. But here comes the quiet warning. Calcium alone, even when absorbed well, is still not enough. Bones are living tissue. They constantly break down and rebuild. For that rebuilding to happen, they need more than minerals. They need the raw material that forms their framework, and that framework is protein. Without sufficient digestible protein, calcium becomes like bricks without steel support. Strong minerals, weak structure. This is where many seniors unknowingly fall short. They focus on calcium and forget the scaffolding that holds it together. And although eggs are famous for protein, aging digestion does not always handle them as easily as it once did. That is why the next layer of protection becomes so critical, because the same cheese that improves calcium absorption also delivers a form of protein that is uniquely suited for aging muscles and bones. Miss this step, and even perfectly absorbed calcium cannot fully do its job. After 75, protein becomes both more important and more difficult. Muscles shrink faster, bones lose their protective cushioning, and recovery from even minor strain takes longer. Yet at the same time, digestion weakens. Heavy protein foods that were once easy to handle can now cause bloating, discomfort, or simply fail to be absorbed properly. This creates a dangerous gap where the body desperately needs protein, but cannot always process it efficiently. That is why many seniors slowly lose strength even while eating what they believe is a high-protein diet. The protein is present, but the body cannot fully unlock its value. And without enough usable protein, bones become more fragile because their internal framework weakens, muscles lose their stabilizing power, and balance suffers. This is where aged natural cheese shows its quiet brilliance. During the aging process, complex proteins are gently broken down into smaller, more digestible building blocks. In a way, the cheese does some of the digestive work for you. This means your body does not have to struggle to extract amino acids. They are already prepared, already softened, already more accessible. For an aging digestive system, this is a gift. The protein enters the bloodstream more smoothly, feeds the muscles more efficiently, and strengthens the structural network that supports bones. It is not just protein, it is protein in a form that respects the limitations of age. Another powerful advantage is how slowly this protein is released. Unlike fast-digesting sources that create short spikes and quick drops, aged cheese delivers a steady flow of amino acids. This constant supply helps prevent muscle breakdown, supports nighttime repair, and stabilizes energy levels. For seniors, this is critical. Stable muscles mean better balance. Better balance means fewer falls. Fewer falls mean fewer fractures. So indirectly, this protein becomes a shield against the most dangerous threat to aging bones: sudden impact. Eggs are wonderful for muscle building, but they work best when digestion is strong and enzyme production is high. After 75, that is not always the case. Some people begin to feel heavy, sluggish, or inflamed after eggs, not because eggs are bad, but because our bodies have changed. Aged cheese offers a gentler alternative that still delivers deep nourishment. It supports muscle without exhausting the digestive system, and it strengthens bones by reinforcing their internal framework. This combination is exactly what orthopedic specialists want to see in aging patients: strong muscles protecting strong bones. But there is a hidden layer to this protection that most people overlook. Protein builds the structure, Calcium builds the strength, but something must control where that strength is placed. Without proper direction, even perfectly absorbed calcium and perfectly digested protein can fail to protect the skeleton. Minerals can wander into arteries, joints, and soft tissues instead of entering bones. And when that happens, the body gains hardness in the wrong places and weakness in the right ones. That is why the next factor becomes absolutely critical. There is a specific nutrient that acts like a traffic controller inside the body, guiding calcium exactly where it belongs. Without it, all this effort can lose its power. And surprisingly, aged cheese holds a natural advantage here too, one that many people have never even heard of. Inside your body, calcium behaves like a powerful but confused traveler. It wants to strengthen you, but it needs direction. Without guidance, it can easily end up in the wrong places, hardening arteries, stiffening joints, and creating problems instead of solving them. This is where vitamin K2 becomes the unsung hero of bone health. Think of it as the traffic officer that tells calcium exactly where to go. It activates specific proteins that escort calcium straight into the bones and teeth, locking it into skeletal structure where it belongs. Without enough K2, even the best calcium-rich foods and the most absorbable proteins lose a large part of their protective power. After 75, when the risk of calcification and bone weakness rises sharply, this guidance system becomes absolutely critical. What makes aged natural cheese so special is that it naturally contains vitamin K2, developed during the fermentation and aging process. This is something eggs, milk, and most supplements simply do not provide in meaningful amounts. K2 works quietly but powerfully, ensuring that all the calcium you work so hard to absorb is not wasted or misplaced. It protects arteries from becoming rigid, keeps joints from accumulating mineral deposits, and strengthens the internal architecture of bones. In other words, it transforms calcium from a potential risk into a true healing tool. Orthopedic specialists value this deeply because they see the difference between patients who build dense, resilient bones and those who only increase calcium levels without real structural improvement. As we age, the danger is not just bone thinning, but misdirected mineral storage. This is why some seniors develop both osteoporosis and hardened arteries at the same time. It sounds contradictory, but it is actually a sign that calcium is going everywhere except where it is needed most. Vitamin K2 corrects this mistake. It restores order. It brings intelligence to nutrition. And aged cheese becomes a natural delivery system for this intelligence, combining calcium, protein, fats, and K2 in one simple food. Another powerful role of K2 is its partnership with vitamin D. Vitamin D helps absorb calcium into the bloodstream, but K2 decides where that calcium ends up. Without K2, vitamin D alone can become risky because it increases calcium levels without controlling placement. This is why blindly taking supplements without considering balance can be dangerous after 75. Food-based nutrition, especially from traditionally aged cheese, offers a safer, more harmonious solution because the nutrients arrive together in nature's intended ratios. Yet here is the quiet warning. Even with perfect calcium absorption, digestible protein, and strong vitamin K2 guidance, your diet can still fall short if it relies too heavily on just one or two foods. Balance matters, strategy matters, and tradition sometimes blinds us. For years, eggs have been praised as the ultimate aging food, the gold standard of protein and strength. But when bones, arteries, digestion, and mineral direction are all considered together, eggs alone no longer cover the full picture. They build muscle, yes, but they do not guide calcium, they do not protect arteries, and they do not strengthen bones in the same multidimensional way. And that realization changes everything about how nutrition should look after 75. For decades, eggs have been treated like the ultimate health food, especially for older adults. High protein, easy to cook, affordable, and familiar. And to be clear, eggs are not the enemy. They are powerful for muscle repair and brain support. But after 75, the body's priorities change. Survival is no longer about growth, it is about preservation. It is about keeping bones unbreakable, arteries flexible, joints smooth, digestion calm, and balance strong. Eggs mainly serve one mission, muscle building. They do not carry calcium. They do not contain vitamin K2 in meaningful amounts. They do not guide minerals into bones. They do not protect arteries from calcification. So while eggs can still support strength, they cannot protect the skeletal system on their own. Relying on them as a primary food after 75 is like building a house with strong walls but a weak foundation. Another issue is digestion. Aging stomachs produce less acid and fewer enzymes. For many seniors, eggs begin to feel heavy, cause bloating, or sit uncomfortably in the gut. When digestion is stressed, protein absorption drops, and the benefit of eating eggs is quietly reduced. The body needs protein that feels gentle, slow, and steady. Eggs release protein quickly and depend on strong digestion to unlock their full power. Aged cheese, in contrast, releases protein gradually and arrives partially broken down, which makes it far more forgiving to an aging system. That difference becomes massive after 75, when digestion determines how much nutrition truly reaches your bloodstream. There is also the question of impact. Eggs help muscles, but muscles alone cannot save fragile bones. After a fall, it is bone strength that decides whether someone walks away or enters a hospital. This is why orthopedic thinking goes deeper than protein numbers. It looks at fracture prevention, bone density, mineral placement, and joint stability. In that full picture, eggs play a supporting role, not a leading one. They are helpful, but incomplete. They are part of the puzzle, not the solution. The danger comes when tradition replaces strategy. Many seniors believe, I eat eggs every day, so I'm protected. That belief can become a silent risk. It creates a false sense of security while bones continue to weaken and calcium continues to wander into the wrong places. This is not because eggs are bad. It is because they are not designed to handle the full complexity of aging nutrition. After 75, food must multitask. It must build muscle, protect bones, guide minerals, support digestion, and reduce inflammation at the same time. This is why aged natural cheese begins to outperform eggs in real-world orthopedic outcomes. It covers more biological ground with less digestive stress. It acts like a nutritional safety net rather than a single-purpose tool. But here is the final warning before everything comes together. Even the right cheese, even the right balance of nutrients will only work if it is used with intention. Portion, timing, and consistency decide whether this becomes powerful medicine or just another food. And when you understand how to use it correctly, the payoff is not just stronger bones. It is longer independence, better movement, and a body that resists fragility instead of surrendering to it. That is where the real transformation begins. After 75, food is no longer just fuel. It becomes medicine. It becomes protection. It becomes your daily insurance policy against weakness, fractures, and dependency. And that is exactly why this cheese is so powerful. It doesn't work in one direction, it works in all directions. It strengthens bones when they are most fragile. It feeds muscles when they are shrinking. It delivers calcium where it belongs. It reduces inflammation in joints. It supports balance, posture, and mobility. Eggs are wonderful, but eggs were built for growth. This cheese is built for preservation. It preserves independence. It preserves confidence. It preserves life quality. And after 75, that is the real victory. Think about it. One simple slice of aged cheese carries concentrated minerals, slow-release protein, bone-directing vitamins, and natural fats that protect your nervous system. No complicated supplements, no harsh medications, just real food doing real healing. Orthopedic surgeons don't look at food emotionally. They look at bones, scans, fractures, and recovery rates. And when they recommend this cheese, they are not chasing trends, they are following evidence. They are choosing strength over weakness, prevention over repair, and mobility over immobility. So if you want to walk stronger, stand taller, and live more freely in your later years, this is not a luxury food. This is a strategic food. This is not a snack. This is a shield for your skeleton, because growing older is natural, but becoming fragile is optional. Choose strength, choose wisdom, choose the foods that fight for you. And remember, your body is listening to what you feed it every single day. Make sure you're feeding it power, not just calories.